Hi, my name is Jesse L. Delaney. I am the writer, director, and chief editor of this project and short film, Surprise. With me, I have Alia Dietrich today. She is the starring actress and my loving partner.
Happy to be here.
This was a little bit of a doozy. Some things were planned, but not to the extent that they should have been planned. For instance, when we watched the exterior shots, I believe 40% of the overall footage I had collected for this short film was split between the outdoor shots and Aaliyah's initial entrance into the house, that first interior shot of her.
That entryway shot was definitely pretty tough. That was the first one that we did together. We were getting the hang of everything. Lighting that room was a nightmare. I was still shaking off my nerves. This was the first time I've ever been on camera. So, it was a little rough, but I think it paid off in the end.
No, absolutely. I think so too. And that light flickering with the combination of me burning my hand right there, just some things that people might not know. I have 8.5 years in a kitchen and can't really feel my hands. So I had to genuinely burn myself for that. And that light just decided to start flickering, I guess at the best possible moment, but at the time it seemed like the worst.
It was truly an unpaid actor. We worked around it. I think I did some good improv. I really do enjoy the way that you cut that first scene together with the interior and exterior. I thought it added a good touch.
I think the hardest part about filming the interior was trying to figure out where to put the lights and the camera. The interior's, it's shaped oddly, so you can only get cameras and lighting in one specific area.
Yeah, it's definitely a tighter, older home, so trying to figure out the lighting with what we already had, because I know that big light that you usually use wasn't fitting anywhere. It was not convenient at all. But you did great in editing.
I appreciate that. I think a lot of the challenges we faced when it came to trying to figure out which shot to use was more or less just placement of the camera. Like I said, this house is designed weird. So with the rounded table right here, there was only very few camera spacings or camera locations that we could use. And it just seemed unnatural in the moment until we actually started rolling. We were pretty grateful that the lights above head in the kitchen, when all of them are on and every other light in the house is off, there's no flickering. So there was good overhead lighting in that one, which allowed us to not use lighting.
Absolutely. And fun fact, you're holding your mic inside your fake burn
Actually,
on your hand the entire film. That's why he's holding it's a burn, but it was a a little trick.
It's actually funny that you mentioned the magnets, because I honestly didn't even realize that that's what that was. On there, I thought that was a part of the clip that needs to go into the box for like the casing.
Yeah, something, because I remember, the magnets were not we were ignorant to the magnets. It could have helped, but
I just think that the benefit to the dining room shot and why it has the shot, like the depth of field that it does, is because our house is very square. So it allowed us to have us sitting in the center of the house with the camera at the front door. Mm-hmm. So you can have that kind of, long shot.
Yeah, and especially with the den behind it. It's a nice little touch of like that really long.
And the chandelier,
shot.
Right? With the lighting.
I love the chandelier. Love the chandelier.
It allowed us to not have to use 2 of the 3 lights. So we were able to kind of use the one light. But I think looking back at it, I would like to try and use different lights and use the chandelier a little less. Maybe to keep it on, but I think it's very warm. It's one of, like, compared to the shots of us sitting at the kitchen table where we're just talking, like, this chandelier is an extremely warm light.
Yeah, I think it lent itself to that scene though, with us just eating our our breakfast for dinner. It was a nice little warm touch, even though it was a bit of a point of contention, at least from my point of view, because like you're just spouting off, kind of being oblivious, and I'm sitting there kind of seething. about what you're saying. So I think the warmth did something, but I agree. I think more lighting options would have given us more freedom with the shots that we took.
I don't think we even. I mean, the lighting's if we had more lighting and different options, then maybe. But the biggest challenge of shooting in our house, and definitely will always be the 55 mirrors on all of the walls. The house was built in 1958, and there is floor-to-ceiling mirrors. I believe there's
to Jesse's left in this
at
shot.
least minimum 15.
To your left. It was tricky to get them out of the shot. There's one behind me, but they big tall mirrors. We had to get the perfect angle so that you couldn't see all of the camera equipment or just anything else.
And there's also a china cabinet that is extremely reflective in between two stand-up mirrors on the left of me when you're watching the dining shot.
It's basically
it's
a mirror.
100% reflective on the left-hand shot. So there was very limited angles that we could get for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know. Like, look how I'm sitting at the dining room table.
It was so unnatural, and also just trying to get that over-the-shoulder shot so that the conversational.
Right, and
angle was we both had to sit so weird at that table.
And I wasn't really able, like, the camera sitting behind me was directly over my shoulder when we were filming you, because there was no room. There was maybe 2 feet of room between the table and the wall and the chair. It was terrible.
And then for this one, didn't we have to get it like up into the den so that you could do the right zoom? I love
push through of the chair.
Love that shot.
Yeah, that was a wonderful idea, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I will
Kudos
take credit
to
for that
Alia.
one.
That is 100% her idea. It was just my technical application. But it was getting the camera into the den and finding the right height of the tripod. Which is
to
frustrating
get it right through that keyhole of the chair.
It was either looking up or down when we went to it, but it was a really fun shot.
No, I'm glad that was when we really started kind of getting into the groove of filming together and bouncing ideas off of each other. And I was like, "Ooh, what if we do a shot of her just alone at the dining room table, trying to calm herself down because she's so mad at him."
Oh no, absolutely. And I guess I just really appreciate the structure of the house because it allowed us to get such interesting shots. When you move to the sink, it's looks like it's a set built because you're getting the point of view that you would normally get when it's a set and you are the camera of the fourth wall. It looks like the audience is sitting in front of us and we're just standing in front of maybe a table and some stuff. But really, this was
just a tiny little breakfast bar built into the kitchen.
Really, it's the room that the camera's in is called the Little Den in my family, but it was originally a 1-car garage, and my grandpa converted it. This window you see is a garage window that would look into the garage from the house. Because, I mean, built in the 50s, 60s, they just had weird aesthetics back then. But I'm eternally grateful for that room for my life and a lot of weird reasons. But for filming aspects, it allowed us to get
the house was
both of us
it was
looking,
a blessing and a curse at the same time.
It helped us, but it also cursed us in weird ways.
Right.
There's no room in my room to film whatsoever in the basement.
Yeah, this was actually a low location change.
Yeah, we had to move.
And plus, it was like 2 a.m.
Yes,
we had been shooting all night, and he still needed to take me home. So we're like, you know what? We'll finish. Like we were at our wits' end filming the bedroom scene,
and it was not helpful. Just the simple fact that we chose not to bring any lights. And we wanted to just look off of your natural lights in your room. I think if we would have brought one light, it was just a simple fact that it was so late and we just wanted to get it done.
Yeah, it was so late. I'm in a basement, so there's, there wouldn't have been an opportunity for natural light anyway, having it be 2 a.m. But thankfully, that light bulb, it was good given we're waking up, surprise.
And just you having an entire basement is extremely helpful. I think that Troy's showing up had one of the major saving graces of the short film. As a director and writer, I can't believe, and it still irks me today, but I completely forgot to write in the creeping of the thief aspect to bring in that real thriller and real grainy footage that you got. I forgot to put that into the script, and I guess maybe 20 years of friendship really does help when somebody kind of thinks the way that you do. So he stepped in and really, really helped me create those concepts and those ideas on the spot. And he put off the rest of his night to do so. And I'm grateful for it. I think that he allowed this short film to really have the impact that it needed, simply just because he had an idea and wasn't afraid to voice it. As, you know, somebody who just wanted to be there and help his friend, he really was there to help me. He voiced his opinion, and I'm grateful that I listened.
Yeah, that sequence, I think, definitely added a little bit more depth, not necessarily to the character, but to the scene, where, you know, instead of just the original idea of, you know, we turn the lights on and there's Troy on the floor, we see him, you know, trying to be quiet, accidentally knocking something, like we see the action instead of just it being assumed, which I think was great. And I guess to bounce off of your other point where Troy was able to help you so much and add so much to the film, I think, I know this was the first time we ever made a short film together, but I think your ability to not be so rigid in your ideas and letting me collaborate with you and bring new ideas and ideas for shots, and you know, those little things add up, and I think the whole collaborative effort really shows and shines when you watch the whole thing.
No, I completely agree. I think that it all really comes together because of the collaboration that was there, and just the simple idea of you telling me to keep the light on when Troy creeps past the pantry, just because it was so dark before. We were struggling with trying to find the right lighting, and that ominous light behind the door was, I think it was perfect. That little 2-second clip, you know, just having that light on in the background is really, really important. And Troy thinking of putting the pots right next to the counter sink, just when you normally dry your pots and pans, you do them on the countertop. And he was right. A thief might not see that in the dead of night. So I think that really adds that impact that the film really needed. And that collaboration, I'm eternally grateful for. Troy's been a great friend for 20 years. So I had a feeling that if I called and needed him, he was going to be there.
Yeah, the back and forth was really fun, like as an actress, and then also, you know, it got my creative juices flowing. I started wanting to like, like, ooh, can we try this shot? Ooh, can we try this angle? And it was a nice little like dipping my toes in. I don't know if I'll ever go full blown director, but it definitely made me appreciate the movie making process and just everything behind the scenes a little bit more, especially as a movie buff. I've loved movies forever, and getting to do this with you, a fellow movie lover, was really special.
No, I 100%, I completely agree. It was a special bond for all three of us. We're going to keep doing it again, that's for sure. I think some of the things that challenged us towards the end shots when we were trying to be more creative that we didn't think of initially was blocking out a blacked out room when we were trying to get into the kitchen in a dark room while she's turning the lights on. Like, I genuinely stubbed my toe and almost fell. And
trying to like turning the lights on right at the right moment, like running
correct.
through, and like, this isn't my house.
Yeah.
Or no, not those. I meant like when you're like chasing me through, like following me through the dining room. We decided to do that like kind of like last minute. We're like, ooh, what if we follow you from the room to the kitchen?
Yeah, I think trying to break off of Troy's idea of doing his little follow-through idea.
It worked,
we tried to do a little bit more so, but it was
tricky, especially because he knows his house. I don't. Like, I'm like, okay, it's dark, and so that's why. And then like having to turn on lights so that the camera can pick me up the whole time. It was fun. But yeah, what you mentioned, the trying to time the lights with Troy in the kitchen,
because there's two lights and they're on either side of the kitchen, and we had to have my mom stand in the most awkward position to be out of frame so she couldn't be seen to be able to get that light switch to turn off on correctly.
Or I was sitting on the counter, and
I
was above Troy. Sitting on the counter above Troy, turning two light switches on at the same time, and then having to silently count down so that your mom would switch the other one off or on at the same time. It was it was fun.
I think it's wild to me to think about the shots that had the most footage were almost the individual shots, because the shots that we did where it was dialogue between you and I talking, it seemed slightly easier because
It was
they
seamless.
weren't as creatively driven as to where we wanted the dramatic effect of the lights coming on at the right time, and then it just always comes down to the curse slash blessing of the house that we have. It's a beautiful house. It's built beautifully. It's just certain things when you want them to work out in a certain way, just don't. We have light switches on opposite sides of the kitchen, and they need to go on and off at the same time, and that just doesn't work when you're trying to make a dramatic effect happen.
And the different light bulbs with the
And
different warmths.
I
And
just
then,
never thought about using my personal lights that have a clicker that I can turn off
What?
and on. Yeah, I just,
Oh
you know,
my
even
God.
now in the commentary,
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that
Until right
this
now.
moment, that there was lights that could have been on and off just with my clicker, and they would have been better lights. But I think that's what this is for, is looking back at the things that you can learn from
Yeah.
the filming and kind of understand that, hey, this could have been done a certain way, that could have been done a certain way. I tried to challenge myself by throwing in continuity errors and other things just to see if people would catch. There's a red water bottle and there's a gray water bottle.
See, I didn't know that was
There's
on
a
purpose.
green-
I thought it was just, like, I caught it because I was wearing it, but yeah, my camo jacket outside because it was cold. It was in, like, the middle of February that we were doing this.
I like
February or
continuity
March.
sometimes, you know.
And then
they're
when I
fun.
come in, because the room was so dull, I remember Jesse telling me, we need some color. We need to, like, get some color on you because, like, I don't I don't wear a lot of pops of color. And so he grabbed his dad's old flannel to wear, like, coming in, and there was 2 different water bottles. And, oh, what was I about to say? Oh, just that first shot with, like, coming through the entryway was definitely the most time, but we did not spend not much time on screen. But I think that really, going forward, you definitely need to do a few rehearsals, few more pre-planning things, and things will go a lot smoother.
I think the biggest things that I learned from this short film are to be a little bit more intensive with your pre-planning and blocking out your shots when it comes to your actors' movements and potential camera movements. And honestly, just learning the lay of the land and setting up your lights 1,000 times over before you can actually push record on that camera. That was the biggest takeaway. It's the lighting, the pre-planning, the blocking, and honestly, like she said, just allowing other people to have a creative voice in your project, something that was supposed to be your solo piece, but because of these items and thoughts and ideas, it's a real collective, collaborative piece.
Yeah, I'm happy I got to contribute as much as I did, creatively and, you know, just within the project. So thanks for having me.
Well, we'll keep doing more, trust us. It was a fun time. We're going to keep going.
It was a fun time. For no rehearsals, I think our first go at it was pretty solid.
Absolutely. Well, I'm Jesse.
I'm Alia.
Have a good rest of your night or evening.
Or good morning.
Or whatever time it is. Take care.